Welcome to The Thrive, a podcast for working moms. This is for all the women and moms listening. If you work from home, in an office, run your own business, or are the CEO of your family, this podcast is for you. Because at the end of the day, all moms are working moms. Rachel and Christine invite you to celebrate the victories, get advice, listen to their mom fails, and to know you aren't alone, to thrive in your everyday life. Hey everyone, this is Rachel.
And Christine.
We're so excited today to be doing a recap of season 1. In season 1, we put out 25 episodes, which is a lot. And I shouldn't say over. You know my best skill is not math. 12 of those. So almost half of those episodes were interviews. So today we want to just reflect on some of the awesome women that we had on our show, some of the cool things that we learned from these women. And if this is your first time listening, this was a great episode to tune in for. We're going to be telling you a little bit about who we are and what our show is all about. My name is Rachel Klein. I have a web design and marketing business, and I had a little bit of experience podcasting before Christine and I started this show. And we've really been learning as we go. And it's been great when our guests are like, oh my goodness, this is my first time on a podcast. You guys are so professional. And we're just like, oh my gosh, what did you say earlier? Fake it till you make it.
We must be doing a good job at that.
Yeah, we've just been learning as we go. And it's been so fun to have some of these women along just for the ride with us, just along for the journey. And yeah. So Christine, tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Christine Campbell. I also live here in Lancaster, PA, originally from New Jersey, though. Got to throw that in there. I am a local second grade teacher, a mom, and trying to launch with a good friend of mine our own event planning business with some other things thrown in there like personalized signs and gifts. So we're just kind of learning as we go, but definitely keeping my plate full.
Oh, that's for sure. You just put off like this amazing vendors market. So you guys are definitely like on your way to having such a cool business.
We're not sure where we're going, but we're just taking steps forward.
Well, each thing that you've done so far has worked it just turned out really well. So,
girl.
Well, I'll just put it out there because I know that you won't brag about yourself, but Christine is like amazing attention to detail. So sometimes I think it takes you a little while to figure out what you want to do sometimes.
Oh, exactly.
You're a 7, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got to look more into what is it called?
The Enneagram.
Thank you. Enneagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next summer when I'm off work, I'll figure more about that.
Well, that's something we talk about in a handful of episodes. So check out the Enneagram if you haven't. It's so fun to figure out your personality type. And it just really gives you so much insight in yourself, your business, your parenting style, and even your friendships. So it's something that it was a lot of fun when some of our guests actually knew what we were talking about when we were like the Enneagram. So you will...
But I'm learning.
But that was a recurring theme. So if you listen to season 1, you'll probably want to go take the test for yourself.
And as Rachel said, we're just here to recap a lot of our episodes from season 1 and to talk about the women that we had on. And I know for Rachel and I, one of the episodes or the types of episodes that we loved and really gained a lot of information from were the women that we had on talking about self-care and a holistic lifestyle, essential oils. And we had actually 3 women on that work for Young Living, something I was fascinated by, with Jessie Smoker from episode 9, Sarah Stutzman, episode 13, and Sheila Martin from episode 14, was how passionate they were about using oils to help and just care for their families, which is something I've been trying to do. So yeah. I was and still am taking notes.
I love those episodes too, because something I found so interesting is that compared to other multi-level marketing businesses, they each did it so differently. Like I think in some of those businesses, it's a very cookie cutter, like most of the people that sell it do it the same way. I just felt like I learned a lot about Young Living, and like the fact that Jessie has this whole team behind her and Sheila really uses them for her kids and is passionate about holding classes for other moms. And not like classes where it's like, oh, everyone gets, a free makeover and I want you to book a party with me. But classes where like you come for free, maybe you pay $5 for like a product because you're interested in it. And then she spends an hour telling you like how to use each of the items she's talking about and how to put the oils you might already own to use. Because I know I bought a kit and I had like no clue what to do with it. So it was really interesting. Just like you said, they were all passionate, and Sarah is actually a holistic, like a health coach. So she took it a step further, like went and got a degree in nutritional health coaching. I think is that what her title was?
Sure. We'll have to go back and listen for that.
Yeah, listen to episode 13. But yeah, she has a whole different focus on things. And Young Living is sort of a part of her business, but not even like the main focus. So I really enjoyed just seeing how they all come at it so differently.
And like you mentioned, Rachel, their businesses, while they're still under the same umbrella, are so different to who they are as women, to their family lifestyle, to what they're passionate about. So there are similarities, but they're allowed to run their business, and they do run their business just according to who they are as women. And so that was cool to hear from the interviews, but also once you knew them as people, really just to see what shines through with each of them.
Yeah, for sure. And we had another group of women in different episodes that kind of fall into like that creative category. We had a couple of a couple of photographers, and it was great to see how each of them just brings something so different to the table. In episode 6, I think that was our very first interview.
It was.
Laurie Ressler joined us. She's the owner of LVR Portraits, and she focuses on newborn photography. And I just feel like that is such an art compared to like any other type of photography.
They need some finesse to hold those little newborns.
Yes, for sure. And it was really cool just hearing like the heart she has for her business and the fact that she just loves that newborn stage, because she talked about how she has her own like miracle baby. Mm-hmm. So that's something she's passionate about, and just connecting with other parents who might have a child that was a preemie or just, has had a tough journey at such a young age. Mm-hmm. So it's really neat how she is able to capture that stuff. And yeah, wow. I feel like I'm getting sentimental here, but some of the women just shared such interesting things on the show. Bethany, oh my gosh, she cracked me up. Bethany Valentine, also a photographer who does a lot with video. She was on the show, and she shared about working with her husband.
Oh, they were so sweet to hear about.
Yeah, like they met in college. They were both like videographer majors. So it was interesting hearing their story about how like they've grown their business together.
Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of passion to go into business with your husband, but it definitely speaks to the relationship with how well they did. And it just sounds like they learn and grow off of each other, which was really inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. And I know them both personally, and they're just so funny to be around. Like,
so great.
Yeah, she just makes me laugh. So if you need a fun episode to listen to, I think that was 18. Yeah, we just had a lot of laughs. We talked about like the randomest things. And
that often happens.
Yes. And Bethany is great at that. I think the other photographer we had was Britt Chandler.
Yep. Who she has a whole other category with helping people with their businesses and marketing. She definitely has an eye for pulling things together in a cohesive way, and makes beauty out of things that I would think are just normal everyday items.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. She's so talented in that respect. Like I said, like they each have such an art, but she's actually opening her own studio.
She is doing so amazing. I get excited every time I see on Facebook or hear from you the way her business is growing.
Yeah. So if you are listening, if you're on Instagram, you can find in the show notes on our website all of these different women. But yeah, shout out to Britt's brand new studio, because I don't even think she's had like her launch, like her opening yet. But she does have an Instagram for it, and it's at Sovereign. So find her in our show notes and show some love to her new studio, because I know that it's been she's explained that like opening the studio and taking the step was almost like birthing a child. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what opening a studio is like, but if it's like that, that's a big deal.
Right. And Rachel, as you mentioned, a lot of our episodes were leaving us laughing and just having a good time hearing about people's stories. But we also had some that brought some tears, some emotions. Well, side note, right, which was our first guest to cry.
That was
Jessie Smoker.
Yes, that was Jessie, right? She was telling us how she like had just gotten the
She was going to Utah, right?
Yes, she had just earned like a trip to Utah, like all expenses paid through Young Living, and she got so emotional about it. Nice. But it was great.
And we had some women on with just such touching, emotional stories. On episode 12, Brienne Lapp was on, and she shared so much of her pregnancy journey. She had just recently gave birth to her son, Noah, and she was able to share with us just her whole journey of really taking care of herself, using oils, but also just really listening to her body. And I know we were both in awe of hearing her whole pregnancy story. Was so eye-opening.
Yes, and I remember just sitting on the edge of my seat because she literally like told us her birth story and how like she waited and waited and waited to go to the hospital. And I just wanted to be like, so when did you go? Like, did you have the baby in the car? Like, did you get there?
Such a good story. And then episode 21, we had Juliana Tomlinson, who is also a photographer, so fits in that creative, beautiful eye for art and detail. Photographer, but she also shared her story with her struggle of infertility and then the birth of her amazing miracle son, which I know left us all feeling all the feels. Such a woman of faith and honesty, humility with sharing her journey, which is, I feel like, something that us as women here on our podcast, The Thrive, can do is really relate to other women's stories, even when they're so different from our own.
Yeah, for sure. Who else did we have? We had another mom episode that I like wanted to take notes.
Oh, well, probably Marianne Solzfuss from Three Strands.
That one, but Sheena Shuffle.
Yes. Well, I was saying like all the moms. Yes. So episode 23, towards the end of our first season with Sheena, she is a mom of 4 doing all the things, which I know Rachel and I, with just our 1 and 2 kids, are continually amazed at all the things she does and does so well.
Yeah. Like, how does she get her 4 kids to mom's group early? I like can't get my 2 kids there on time.
And even hearing how she manages her children, their behavior, instilling values in them, teaching them routines and responsibilities was very eye-opening. As a teacher, of course, that's something I value. But to hear how she brings that into her family was really inspiring.
Yeah, I do think that episode was another one that made me laugh, but I also was like, wait, so what do you do? She gets them to do chores. So if you're a mom that has kids that are old enough to start helping around the house, Sheena breaks down her system for, I remember this now, I think she called it mom bucks. So they can earn mom bucks to spend on things then in the house, like their own Halloween candy.
She is brilliant.
Yeah. She was just too funny. And then we also had, like you mentioned, in episode 24, Marianne Stoltzfus, who is a local business owner who started as a doula and now offers just so many services for moms and for women, from birth classes and doula services to childcare. She owns a business called Three Strands, and we've talked about their babysitting services because both of us have used it. And oh my gosh, she was so fun.
She, I feel like, was so, just from a podcast standpoint, so sweet to listen to her. Such a voice and love behind what she shared. Hearing about her family and her upbringing in the Amish community to now having this business of her own and how all that transitioned to become what it is right now. It's such a booming business. And so that, from a mom standpoint and also from a business standpoint, was, I think we both learned a lot of really valuable information from her.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed her episode. It was the second to last in season 1, so go check it out. We also were joined by Mara Clements. She's the professional organizer who was our second interview. And I'll never forget, I think her comment was like, "You guys are so legit." And we were like, "What?" Like, us legit? We're just learning this. But it was so encouraging to just have someone on our show who was like admiring what we were doing as women, as podcasters. And it was the first time I think we realized like, wow, like we're doing something that like people really want to listen to. So that was so special. And her business, like I said, More Space, organizing. She talked about how getting rid of stuff can really just be freeing. And I had never experienced that until our episode. She provided all these practical tips for just getting rid of clutter and getting rid of junk. And I'll never forget, I cleaned out part of my closet and got rid of clothing that like just didn't fit anymore. And I don't know if I'm ever going to fit back into it. And so it felt so good to just get rid of it. And it took a lot of pressure off of me. Like I didn't realize like these stupid clothing, like sitting in the back of my closet, were making me feel like I just wasn't enough. Like I wasn't ever going to fit back into them. Like they were such a reminder of like, you're just, too thick. You're just too chubby. And I remember when I got rid of those clothes, it really was so freeing. And that was thanks to Mara. What?
Mara's a genius.
Yes, she definitely is. I was like, what did you say? Oh.
So I wanted to share my personal favorite episode, Rachel, that was with just you and I. Because like you in the beginning, we had about half with guests and then with just you and I. My favorite was episode 10, where it was you and I sharing our top 10 things we learned. I feel like that one had the tears and the laughter. And I remember, not specifically, but giving kudos to my mother with the way that she raised my brother and I. And after we did that episode, I shared with my mom that I talked about her on the episode. She gets nervous whenever I say that. But when I told her what I said, she was like, "Oh, Christine, that's so nice." So I feel like episode 10 brought me closer to my mom.
I feel like that in some ways too. I think that was the first time I gave my mom some credit for, like you said, there were certain things that we talked about. I don't even remember how our moms came into it, but I do remember telling my mom, like, you need to listen to that one. I don't know if I have a personal favorite. I wanted to mention that I loved Shannon's story. Shannon was in episode 19. She talked about how she had been divorced at a young age and she had found somebody and just found this man of her dreams. And it was so neat to hear how she just was planning this wedding and going into things a little differently, obviously, than when she had been young. And her story was really inspiring, I felt. And then we also had Sherry Medini on in episode 16, who is a local mama and blogger. She's the co-founder of AdoreThem.com. And it was really great just hearing from her, like how her and I think her partner's name is Carissa are doing all these great things for moms and for expecting moms. They are helping with different like women's expos and family expos. And their blog is just full of all this great content from other moms. I think most of it they said was submitted and contributed by local moms and other bloggers and people that just have life experience to share. So I thought that was a lot of fun chatting with Sherry, and I always enjoyed our episodes too. I still remember, I couldn't tell you what number it is, but I remember we recorded on a bench in your spare bedroom together because we felt like the acoustics were the best.
We always were trying something new out to figure out where it was best.
It wasn't necessarily the most comfortable recording area,
right?
But it definitely, I think it was like right after we had a big storm, and we talked in the episode about all the wind we'd been having.
Yes.
That one, I don't remember what was so great about it, but I just remember doing it. It was probably one of our first ones. I remember the guys were like downstairs waiting for us.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that was when like we used to all just like come over to record before Kyle was like, I'm not coming if you're going to be there till 11 o'clock.
That was in the beginning when we could say, yeah, it'll be quick.
Yeah.
We've definitely come a long way.
Yes, we certainly have. So that was probably one of my favorites. And yeah, if you, like I said, are just tuning in, I hope this gives you a snapshot of some of the people we've had on the show, some of the things we enjoy sharing about most. And I think that the overall theme is we love connecting with women that are just doing their best at what they're doing, whether it's being a mom to little kids, being a mom to big kids, or a grandma who has wisdom to share because she's been there and done that. I think each person we've had on our show has just had so much wisdom and so much personality.
Mm-hmm. And as I say at the end of every episode to our moms that they're doing amazing, we genuinely, that we are all doing amazing, even on the days where we feel like it's full of mom fails and late pickups or dirty dishes, that we're doing the best we can. And I truly believe that we do our best every day, and sometimes that looks different, and it's okay. We're doing amazing every day we get up, and we just face another day. So it's
and
all
that's the truth. I mean, don't mind the coughing in the background. Christine is doing her best right now with a sick toddler who was sleeping during half of this recording and then woke up and required her mama. And if you hear her little congested self, oh my gosh, it's the cutest cough. We won't even edit it out.
We'll be putting oils on that in just a moment.
Aw, well, thanks guys so much. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope it's inspired you to go back and listen to some of the women we featured in season 1. And I invite you to stay tuned for season 2.
Thank you guys for joining us, and you are all doing amazing.
Thank you so much for listening today. You are a part of a growing community of moms, business owners, and women who are here to encourage and inspire. You can connect with Rachel at Rachel Klein Creative on Instagram or rachelkleincreative.com. To keep up with Christine and her latest events, follow her business journey on Instagram at Bellenberry Co. And if you want to be first to know about upcoming guests and giveaways, sign up for the Thrive Podcast email list today. Simply visit rachelkleincreative.com/The Thrive Podcast or follow at The Thrive Podcast on Instagram. If you've enjoyed listening this week, or you've already added our show to your favorites playlist, we'd love for you to write us a review on iTunes. Your support and positive feedback allows us to keep encouraging moms and business owners each week.